recording. Okay guys, so today we are going to work on the object oriented programming. So let's so in GitHub, right, I have added some code. Okay, so you can look at that one also. Let's go back to our GitHub. GitHub/369. If you open the JavaScript and in our oops section, right, I just push this code here. Okay, so that's the couple of projects like library app constructor function, using constructor function, tic-tac-toe game, right, with basic JavaScript, and same tic-tac-toe game with factory function. Okay, so these are the three projects we will be working on this section. So why the object oriented, right? Why object oriented programming is important? See, here is the topic, right? Organizing your JavaScript code. Okay, basically how you organize your code, right? So there are different patterns. Okay, there are different patterns the way you can organize your code, and you can read through this one. Okay, this is the basic. I'll just talk about the right now. I'll just talk about this constructor function and factory function. Okay, classes we will not talk, right? Last time I told you we will maybe later on. I'll just don't want to go in here because we're not going to use classes for our work, right? But we will talk about this one. I mean, once you get better with all this JavaScript, we will talk about that as well. We have looked at the ES6 module already, right? Modules means how you can use a different file, okay? Or maybe third-party software, right, in your program. Import, export, and all that in the module. We have looked at that. So these two, factory function and plain constructor function, that's what we're going to look at. Okay, so objects and object constructor, right? Constructor function is what basically this is also called constructors. Okay, how you going to create object with constructor function? We're gonna create object with constructor function, right? Okay, so before we start constructor function, I want to talk about this keyword. Okay, this keyword, right? So let's understand this keyword because it is very important. Okay, so what I will do, right, this key. Okay, just create that folder, script.js. Oh, today we're gonna learn about this keyword. I will create index.html. Okay, so in the what you call that, in the index HTML, right? Nothing. So we have just, let's say, heading 1, right? Learning this keyword. Okay, learning about this keyword. That is just HTML. But what is this keyword, right? What is this now? So this is an object. Okay, this means represent like referring to something, right? Referring to something. So in the different situation, right, this has a different meaning. Okay, it refers to different thing. So how we know, right, where, in what situation, what is the meaning of this? Okay, or what object it referred to? So how are we going to figure that out? Let's talk about that one. So in here, right, I have a console log. Simply console.log, right? And I will call this here, this keyword. Okay, this. So what I will get now, let's go to the live view, right, and check that. It should print something, correct? So inspect the page and console. So see, it print the window object. So in the context of global, right? Global means what? the code where you can put inside the open space here. That's the global. This whole page is global. So either global, right? You have a global. This is global, or you have function. Okay, function foo, right? Like this here. Okay, console dot log, and I will call this hello here, right? Hello from foo. Okay, if, right, if I console log this keyword inside the foo function, then what gonna happen? Let's run this code. So when this code execute, right, it will print hello from foo and the value of this. So the first was in global. So the global means what? Here the this is equal to window, the global object. Okay, so let's write down here, right? It represent global, and this has we must understand this, right? Because in object oriented, it's very important, you know. That's how you're gonna figure out things, right? Because this will be representing to something, and if we don't understand, then our code may have a problem. Okay, so let's figure out the different situation of the this, right? So one is inside the function, one is in the global here. So that is represent global object, that is window, right? Window. So window has everything, we know that. Okay, and here in the foo function, now what gonna happen? Let's check. So when you execute this function, this will give us something, right? So let's check now. So refresh. Okay, again window. See, hello from foo and the window object again. So even this is function expression, right? In function expression. Oh, not express, statement. This is a statement. Okay, this simple function statement. Okay, statement. This in function statement, this refer to global object. Clear? So you just have to understand now. This is one place, this is second place, right? The value of this is global window. Now next situation, right? Next will be let's say you have a function inside the object. Okay, so let obj, right, equal to this empty object. Okay, let's imagine this, right? And if I have obj dot maybe, you know, any name, right? Any function. I'm going to create any function, so let's call it bar, right? Like this, equal to function, you know. Fine, so I will create this console. Let's console log now, right? Console dot log, and this is from bar. Okay, and now we're gonna log to the this keyword, console dot log this, right? So now what do you think of this here? This will represent what? So we have object. Okay, inside the object, right? Let's say here, if I console log object, what I will get? Obj, right? You want to see this object because this object has a property now, bar, and that property has a value equal to this function. See? So this object, right? How are you going to execute this function from the object? So first, let's look at the object here. So if I go back to our browser now, right? Let's put side by side and see. So if you look at this, so look at this, right? Console log obj. This is the object. So object look like here. The object has nothing right now, but it has the bar keyword. The bar keyword we created to the object, and the function is there. Function is inside the bar, right? See, that's the function in the bar property. Okay, so if the bar has a function, I can execute that. So let's do that one. Console.log, And I mean, we can do this, right? Even we don't have to do console log because our function already have console log. So I can just do obj dot bar, right? And this bar is a function, so I can execute like this. That is okay. So obj is a variable, that is an object, and I call the property bar, but it has the function, so I can execute the function. So bar will be execute now, right? Let's check now. So this is from bar, and now look at this keyword now. So this keyword is referring to what now? It is referring to the object which we are basically whose property is a function, right? See, this refer to this object now. So it's difficult to understand, right? But look at here, this answer here. It is just referring to the object. You have, this is from bar, and this keyword is referring to object. That's it. That is what you have to understand. So just remember now, if there is a function inside the object, right, and you calling that property to execute the function, here you call the bar property and execute, right, then this keyword will refer to that object. So remember that one. This is important. Okay, this is confusing. Other two are just global, right? No problem. But here, if the function is inside the object, this will refer to that object. Okay, that object. Fine. So that is the one, right? Now let's foo and bar. Let's create one more function now, right? This is the second one, right? I mean, the first one is here, second one is this, and the third one we learn about third execution of this, right, inside the function of the object. So function as a property, right? Function assigned to the property of the object. Then this will be referred to. So there is something called this, okay, and this will refer to. But maybe thinking where this is coming from, right? Where this is coming from. So every time, right, when you have function executing, there is a special property called this, always added to the function. Okay, we don't see, right, things we don't see sometimes, okay, but there is already. So this is already assigned to this function argument, right? Because argument is what? Something here, right? Let's say like this, you know, it should be like this, right? This, see, like that. Okay, so if you now, right, refresh the page, what gonna happen? It's give an error, right? Because we are not allowed to put this one, but it just exactly happened, right? It is exactly happened like this. There is something, the argument is assigned to this function bar, right? Every time when the function is run, this keyword is assigned to that function. Okay, just remember that by the system automatically, right? So that's what happened there. So that's why this is coming from. Means when there is a function, you're gonna get this keyword always. Okay, and that this will be pointing to something. So this keyword is pointing to the object here right now. The object, not to the global window, nothing else, but the object whose property is called, whose property the bar is called, right? Okay, so the object property, the object, right, whose property is called, so this will point to that object. Clear? So that's what happened in the object, in the case of object property function, right? Object with proper function as a proper value. Okay, basically bar is the property, right, and the function is the value to that, you know, simply here, right? Bar is the property and function is there. Okay, so we got that one. What is the next one now, right? The last we can check now. So if we have function like this, let's imagine we have function, right? Add, okay, let's say add, right? Add function, and it just return maybe 20, right? So if you call this function with a new add keyword, right, like this, what's gonna happen? So let's save this. We don't see anything, right? So right now you don't see anything, but let's not return, right? We're gonna do something like this. This console, not console dot log from add. Okay, add is just a function name. Okay, you can give anything, right? And then console dot log this. Okay, now check, right? And save this. And so we call this add function. Look at from add and add function, right? So what is the answer here? Empty object. See that empty object? So when you call the function with new keyword, you will get empty object. So what happened now, right? Where this empty object is coming, there is no empty object. There is no empty object, right? But this is referring to empty object. Why? So every time when you call the function with new keyword, the empty object is created. So here is this equal to and return this. That's it. So these two things happen automatically. So when you have this new keyword, right, you assign the you call the function or execute the function using new keyword. This property, this variable here, right, equal to empty object assigned by the system automatically, and it will return this object. Automatic. Okay, that is what happened. When you have new, this is gonna happen automatically. So that's why this is referring to the equal to empty object here. Remember this, okay? So when you have a function inside the object, then that function will, this keyword will refer to that object. But when you call the function with new keyword, right, put new and then function, then this will refer to the empty object. That's it. So in this two, right, try to make a difference and remember this, okay? So when you're gonna get empty object and when you're gonna get when this will point to the object itself, right? Okay, so that was the thing you have to remember for now. Now, right, the next step, we're gonna move to the constructor function. So how we create and why we need constructor and how we create an object, right? All that. So we can check that one. So let's close this. Let's create the folder, right?
Can you please explain this and you keyword again?
Okay. So see what happened, right? This is the function, correct? Add is a simple function. For now, just imagine. And we console, let's say this is not here, okay? Just imagine this is not here. It will be not here, right? It is, I just added to show you, but it will be not, it will be hidden. It's not there. So you have this from add function and then console log this. So remember, as in other function, right, this is pointing to something, okay? Something, right? So when the situation is, we call this add function using new keyword. Okay, so now what happened, the value of this inside the function. So every time when you call the function using new keyword, this will point to the empty object. That's what you have to remember. This is important. The new keyword is important. Okay, when you add the new keyword in front of the function call, and this represents or point to the empty object. This keyword is pointing to empty object. That's it. That's what you have to remember.
As you only work with this.
Yeah, only with the new keyword. When you have new keyword, because if I don't put new now, right, then this is pointing to the global. We have seen in the top one here, right? It refers to the global window. I mean, we wrote that one, right? Global object. Here it will this will point to the object whose property WSOS whose property is called, right? Called, or whose property is executed as function, you know. Basically, call means what? You're only gonna call the function or variable sometimes, but whose property is called and executed. So, you know, this will point to the object, okay? And in case of this here, right, if we call the function with new keyword, right, then this will point to empty object. Simple. Okay, empty object. So just remember that. So the where it is coming, this empty object coming from. So when you add the new keyword, right, new keyword, the system will add this 2 line of code automatically, but it is hidden, we don't see. Okay, that's in the memory, right, in the system. This equal to empty object and return this. So now when you call this variable, that is equal to empty object. Clear?
Yeah.
All right. So now, right, we're gonna look at the, so we check now the use of this, right? I mean, how this is pointing to different object or different things in different situation. Okay, so these are the mostly used situation, right? Either you're gonna call the function using new keyword, or you're gonna call the function from the object property, or you have normal function here, you know. That's it. Man, the dog is barking. Okay, so now let's look at the constructor, right? CONS constructor function. Okay, so what is constructor function? It's just a function, you know. There is a way to write a function, right? So we'll check now. Index.html. Then we're gonna have a script.js. So index constructor function, and then we link our script, right? Source./script. So we look at the function now to learn constructor function. So how we write constructor function, right? Just look at here. See what happened. Basically, you're gonna write the normal function like this, and then let's call it player, right? Player function. Okay. So that's it. So when you have constructor, so what constructor function does, right? It's like a factory, okay, like a factory, right? Or the prototype for making an object. Okay, so for example, I have a name, comma, symbol, right? Just imagine that name, the name of the player and the symbol, right? Okay, so these two are the variable, correct? So now the construct, when you have the function is constructor, you're gonna create an object by using let player1, right, equal to new keyword now, new player. Okay, that's it. So every time when you call this new player like that, you creating the object. But when you use the new keyword, what happened? You get the new object, right? Empty object. But we're gonna add something now to that object. So remember, I said this equal to empty object. This happened now, and return automatically. Return this. Remember, that's automatically happen when you use the new. Okay, we do this now. This dot name equal to name. Okay, and this dot symbol equal to symbol. So what we did now, right? You are returning this. So this is the object. When you don't have any data or any property, that will be empty object. But this empty object, this means empty object. Remember, this means empty object. You add the name property and symbol property to this empty object, and you assign the value from this variable name and symbol. Good. So if I console log player 1, let's call it John, and I pass the symbol X, right, for example. And then I have another player again, player 2, right, and then I pass robot, and then symbol is 0, for example. Just think like that. Okay, so this will be now 2 object. See, the constructor function, right, this function is called using new keyword, and you pass the value in the as an argument, and it will create the object for you. So let's console log this. player player 1 comma player 2. Okay, just log 1 right for now, and I can do another one also, player 2. Okay, so let's go to the live view now. I can close this, right, and let's go live view. Okay, inspect, and if you go to this console, right, console, see, you have 2 objects now. Look at that. The player, right, player is a constructor. See, that's constructor. You're getting this object, right, name John, symbol X. That is one object. The next one is robot and symbol, right? See, so this is the object. Okay, you get 2 objects now created. So how you gonna access the value of object now? So the player 1 dot name, because you have object, okay, and player dot name. That's it. So you can access this name and name from that player 1 object and player 2 object. It will be like this, you know, simple object like this, right? So name colon, the value will be John, and symbol, right, symbol colon will be X, like that. Okay, so you can access now. The player 1 is the object, right? Player 1 dot name will give John, player 1 dot symbol will give X value. Similarly to the 2 also. So now if you print, go back to the console, see, you have John and robot, player 1 dot name, player 2 dot name. Okay, so that's how the constructor work, right? You can even add the function now. Function, this dot get name. Okay, get name equal to function now, right, function. Okay, so console log this, so console log, okay, just console log, right? So we are here, this dot get name. So we have this dot, you can call it this dot name is okay, or you can call this name straight right from here. So let's see what we get, right? This dot name, see what we get here. So if you call this function, we should print something, right? So let's first check this 2 player, okay, and see what happened. because we have console log already here, right? So see, you have player, right, with the name symbol, and there is a function get name now in your object. So see, you have this function attached to the both objects. So if you are going to create hundreds of objects, right, this function will be added to all the objects. So that means it is taking a lot of processing power and a lot of memory. If you have millions of objects, right, that means you are copying the same function. But in our code, what it says, right, you always write a dry code, means do not repeat your functions, you know. The function means what? You write once and use it all over the place, right? To do the same thing. But here, putting the function in the object property, we are making a copy of this function to all the instance of the object. This is the instance, right? Like you're creating one object from this constructor function, okay? Since you are creating one object, two object, you're gonna create millions of objects like this. Clear? So how we can write the better way, how we do the better job, right? That the function is created one time and it will be not added to the object, but we have access to that function to use it. So here, right, if I just go back and I say player one dot get full name, okay, get name, right, like this. Let's see what we get answer. See, we get John, right? See, John. So remember now, right, this see, here is two different things. The one, this is pointing to when you call the function with the player function with new keyword, there is a this keyword referring to the object, empty object, okay? But inside the function, right, which is the value of the property get name, then this will refer to what? To that particular object, okay? The object whose property is called, right? Because here you have this object and this object, so that means this will refer to this particular object, okay? Clear? Now see the difference? Because we have this here, which is pointing to something, and we have this here, which is pointing to something. Any doubt on this? So I hope this is clear now, right? So here, this is just pointing to the object created, right? And that is player one. Because this has to get a value for, if you call player one dot get name, then this will pointing to the player one object. So that's why you get this dot name, that is John. So when you this get name function will print John, okay? Same thing, right? If I call this player two, right, dot get name, now I'm gonna pointing to the robot, because this keyword is pointing to the function whose property is called. So the or pointing to the object, not function but object, right, whose property is called. So player two object and the property is get name. So now you're going to print this value. The name is coming from player two object, okay? So you have to understand that part. Okay, so you have robot now. All right, now the next concept is called prototype, right? Prototype. What is prototype now? Prototype is object created, right? Created for any function. Any function. So prototype is created for any function when it executes, right? So there is a property called prototype, okay? This is also hidden, right? So this prototype property is created. Remember, we create the player one object, correct? property means what? Property means something inside, like name is a property, symbol is a property. Similarly, there is something called prototype. Prototype like this is created. So let's check this, right? Let's try to figure this out. So how are we going to figure that out? So if I console log now, right? Console. Okay, so let me think. Prototype. Okay, just console.log, right? Okay, so we have player function. Player. So player is a function now, right? Player is a function, constructor function, and the function has a property called prototype. Okay, see, this is a prototype already. So let's see what we get back, right? This will give us something, right? See, we get this constructor function. See, so this prototype represents to the player constructor function. Okay, it represents the. So that means what? That means what? This property is there, right, inside this function player. Okay, so now how we can take the benefit of this, right? So see, remember, if you add anything to this object, see, this creates the one object. Okay, see here, this is the object, curly bracket, that object, right? See that? And it is referring to its parent constructor function. That's the player, right? So for example, if I add something here as a property, so if I call it like a get name, right, like that, so what's gonna happen now? So see, right now undefined, right? Because there is it's not returning anything. Okay, so first we have to create something to the prototype, and when you create some function to the prototype property, or basically to the object, that function is shared between all the object. It will not make copy. Okay, and that is the benefit. So what I will do now, right, I will comment this out because we don't need here. Okay, and we do the same thing on prototype now. Okay, so how you can do that? Let's say just write like this. You call the constructor function, right? Here, player, and it has property called prototype. That's it. And now you add something to that prototype object, and we can call it get name equal to, now function. You define the function normal, same what we did before, right? And console log this dot name, comma, this dot symbol. Simple. So we are printing now name and symbol. Okay, all right, so now we have the get name on prototype. So let's check now, right? So let's see here and run this code now. So we must have something on prototype. So look at that, get name function is added to the prototype. Okay, so now if I refresh the page, right, I don't see anymore my get name function in the object 1 and object 2, player 1 and player 2. See, I don't see, but I have access now, right? So if I call it if I call player 1, right, player 1, so that is the name of player 1, name and symbol, right? Dot let's call this name. Okay, simple name I will call, right? See, I get John. That is okay, right? If you call symbol, you're gonna get symbol. But if you can call get name function now, this will give you function, right? This will just give you the function, but you execute the function. Now what you gonna get? See, you get John and X and undefined, because function always return something, right? That is undefined. See, so you're getting the name and symbol. So even player 2 now, right? Player 2 has the access to that one. So if I do player 2 dot get name, and you can access now robot, and O is a symbol. So the rule of the thumb, right? The rule is you add all the instance, basically all the variable inside the constructor like this. You pass it, right? Like this. Okay. And all the function, the logic in the prototype. So when you create millions of objects from this constructor, right? They all have access to this one function. Or you can create many functions now in prototype. You can create player dot prototype, same way, okay? Dot maybe add, right? See? So you have access now. You have access to the property here as well. So every time you call this function, right, you want to increase the let's call it this this dot count, right? Count equal to, right now is 0. So now you're going to increase when you call this function add this dot count plus equal to 5, and then you console log, right? Console log this dot count. Simple. After you increase, and then you console log that count. So let's check now, right? Line 18. So there is something wrong. Oh, sorry. You have you add the property like this equal to function. Now you're gonna put the bracket here. Okay, now it's fine. So now, right, if let's say we have this add function now, okay, to the prototype of player. So if I call this add, it will increase the count value by 5, and then it will print this count. So let's check now, right? So I will call it player 1. Let player 1 increase the count, right? Player 1 dot add function. Okay, and I enter. See, I print 5 now. So count has increased to 5. Let's call it again, right? See, count become 10. Call it again. Count become 15. See that? So the add function is just increasing the value of count. Even you can use this second one, right? Player 2 dot add.
Hey Dev,
Yeah.
isn't a function like a loop? So like every time it has to start from the beginning. So yeah, if it's like that, why is the count like incrementing every time from 5 to 10 to 15 instead of maybe saying 5 every time? Because it's not in the global, it's inside of the function.
No, but see, yeah, it's inside the function, right? Remember here we are not increasing the count inside the function. We don't, right? You have the object player 1 and player 2. You have something like this symbol, and then you have a count. In the beginning it will be 0, right? Now you are increasing the value of this object. Nothing to do with the function now, right? You have this object player 1, the instance, which you create from the player function. Okay, so if you call this player 1 function to increase the count of its property count, I mean, of course, you can increase the value of the object property, right, of your object, correct? So that is done by this add function. So that's the point here. This is referring to the property of the object, right? Who is calling that function add? This referring to this property. Then player 2 have again same thing, right? And this will refer to the player 2 count, not the player 1. So that's why, okay, it's refresh the page, but that's why when you increase the count of 1, it increases. But when you increase the count of 2, it will again start from 5 and 10 like that. Because it has separate object here, right? Yes? Yes or no? Because this creates the whole object, right? This creates the new object for, that's what you're doing here is creating object. Player 1, player 2 object. Now you have functionality, right? You can use that functionality to do whatever you want. So I'm using this add function to just increase the count property of that object. And I'm just also checking, right? What is the count right now? So this that count. So this is referring to the property here in that object. If that belongs to player 2, then it will refer to that player 2 object. Confusing, right? Or clear? It's clear now.
A bit confusing, but like with time.
Okay, so look at here now, right? This is the object, correct? Player 1 object, and this is player 2 object. Okay. Now we have function in prototype. So I can call, I have a variable player 1. Oh, sorry. Player 1, right? I can call that variable. Clear? That is the object. Player 1 is the object. Yes. See that? This is the whole object. And dot add now, right? Okay. Enter 5. If I call player 1 now, right? If I call player 1, see the count has increased to 5 right now. See that? Now you understand, huh? Yes.
Yeah, the part that you explained, I understand. Just that, like, there's still some questions in my mind. I think they'll be answered like as time goes on.
Okay. But yeah. the main goal here, right, of the constructor function is to create object. And how you create object from constructor? The way you write constructor is capital. You start with normal function, but with capital letter. The first character is capital letter. That is one rule. And then you can pass the parameter, right? And because you call the constructor function using new keyword, new, the name of the function, and then you pass the value, right, or argument. You pass the argument. So we have two variable, name and symbol. We are passing name and symbol. That's it. So now it will create an object that is player 1 equal to this object. Simple. Now you have functionality now, right? There is a lot of function to do something in that object, because you're going to have a data, right? You have a data and you have a function. Always in program, what happens? You have a data and a function. Okay, so that is what we are doing here. I mean, basically that's the process, right? So we store all the function in prototype, and that's the rule, right? The function name dot prototype dot get name. That is one function. Add is second function. So in the player prototype property, you added all this function. Okay, so that, I think that is enough for the, basically constructor. So let's look at the factory function now, right? It's okay. I mean, when you start working, right, you slowly will understand. Right now, no need to worry. But we have some projects also, and when you do all that, you will be fine. Okay. But you just see what is constructor function, how you create that, right? and how you execute the, or basically how you call the constructor. That is one part. And second part is how you're gonna create factory function. Same thing. Okay, so oh, not link source, right? Script. What is source? Script. Did I create style dot, should be script dot js, right? Script dot js. script. Okay. All right, so close this. We have index page. We're gonna change this to script dot slash script. Yeah, I'm putting something wrong here. So in the body, right, in the body, you go to the bottom of the body, you put a script tag, and then you have source attribute dot slash and script dot js. That's it. Okay, so the factory function is similar to constructor function, right? But in factory function, you put everything inside the function and you return that as an object. Okay, so let's do that one. So you have function, let's call it factory, right? This function is basically, you know, creating a factory, right? So you have access to, let's say, name is, right? And then there is some function. Okay, function okay, let's put it somewhere, right? Let maybe our const full name is equal to function. Okay, like that. And this function just return our console log name and age, right? console.log name and age. So it is a variable. Okay, so you must put, okay, so just put name comma name, right? That's the name. Let's keep it name, console log name. So that's the name. You can even add, right, space like that, and put age here. Okay, simple. So that is the function, right? This is the variable name. This is the name and age. If you need all this one, right, out of this function here, so how are you gonna do that? Return, just return object like this, name, age, and full name. That's it. Whatever you return, right, that is the only thing you're gonna get in factory function. So if you have to use this factory function anywhere now, you know, it's okay. Just now console log, basically, let's call this, right, factory function. So what we're gonna get now, right? If you return, we're getting this object, correct? We are getting all this object. So you can store somewhere, right? So let data equal to this object. Now you have console log data dot name. Okay, console dot log data dot age, and now there is a full name function, right? So you can even do data dot full name because it has already console log inside. So let's run this code and see what happens. So live view, inspect console. So undefined live. Okay, we're getting some error, right? What happened now? So undefined. There's 3 undefined. So what wrong I have done? So factory function, that's the factory function. Let's look at the code here, right? In our did I forget something? Let's check. You know, these things never used, right? Maybe once in a while, okay? But we must understand, okay? That's the point here, right? That's the prototype for inheritance.
Is it supposed to show something even if you did not assign the name and the age?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, first you have to write. Yeah, because we never assign the anything here. You know, we have the name and age. Oh my god. Okay, you have to assign that. God, I didn't pass the value, right? John. That's why I said where I'm doing a mistake. And then age should be maybe 40. Let's put it that. And that's it. So now factory, right? And you have this. This is the object. This will create what? Object. It will create this object like this, right? So it should have a name, maybe John, comma 40, comma, and then you have this full name function. Okay, this will be function. So let's check now, right? I want to console log data. Okay, console.log data and see what happened. So see the name. See here, that is exactly right. What I show you here. Name is colon John, age colon 40, and full name is a function, right? And you read that data.name is John, data.age is the age, and get full name will give you, it will just execute that function, the full name function, and whatever inside the console log is printed here. So that's how the factory function work, right? If you look at the code, I have one example in our code here. Just do the reading, right? You guys can just quickly read through this when you get time. What is that? So this is a person factory, name and age. Okay, say hello, console log hello. So now this is the function. So you returning name, age, and function. Whatever you return, right, is the only you can access. How you create the object from, because this is factory to create object. So now you're creating the JF, right? JF object with the passing JF and 27 age. So console log JF means JF.name means JF. This one. JF.say hello means you call the function hello. Okay, so that's how the factory is created, and you can now create hundreds and millions of objects, right? Just call the function, pass the name and age. So JF1, JF2, JF3, person factory, you pass the name and age, and you have the object created. Also, right, the shorthand for object is what? Destructor. Remember that if this is name colon name, age colon age, say hello colon say hello, you can write just name, age, short destructor of the object. Yeah. So what is immediately invoked function, right? There is one more thing called immediately invoked function. Remember, we have learned a lot of function, right? But let's find out something quick. IFFE. What is IFFE now? IIF, right? Immediately invoked function call, right? Something like that. IFFE. Immediately invoked function execution, right? I think E, not C, but E maybe. IFFE, okay? So in this, what happened, right? Let's say the function in programming, sometimes you're going to write simple function that will just do the job, right? But if we know in advance that function is not going to use in other places, then, just write the IFFE function, right? So see how it works. Just const add, right? Like that. Function. Okay. This function just read, let's say you have A and B, right? A and B. Passing A and B value, A comma B. So that's the add function, okay? So you just console.log A plus B, simple, B, right? But this function, you can execute immediately, okay? By just passing this parenthesis and pass the 10, comma 20, right? That's it. Now this function is not going to, like basically it will just execute. So let's try to check now, right, if this works. So it should print 30, right? So in our, let's see, we get 30 now. See that? Because this function just execute. So there is a lot of you can read through this if here, right? I have just the same example I have taken from here, but read through this if he this function. So you can create arrow function for if you can create a statement. This is a function statement, or sorry, expression, because equal sign you expressing, right? You can write normal function statement like this also. Basically you just wrap, right, shorthand, you just wrap the whole function inside the parenthesis. That will also be okay. So you can read through here, okay, just read through here. And okay, one thing I forgot, right? Yeah, so see, this is the bracket here, okay. If function, you must put the function inside the two bracket, means parenthesis, right? This is the one, first one, and the second one is like this, right? So this is immediately invoked. You put everything inside here, you write the whole function inside here, okay, and that is the invocation, right? So if you have a comma b and console log maybe 5 plus 10, now you just pass no, not 5 10, a plus b, right? A plus b, and you just pass a b here. So I will pass 100 comma 200. That's it, done, right? So this function even don't have to put name or anything, okay? But you can write as like this arrow function also, but this is done. That's the IFFE. Just write the function, do the job, and forget about that. No need to worry, right? And that function should see that 300 you get value, will do the job, okay? So that is immediately invoked function. Okay guys, so we learned, right, a lot today about factory function, constructor function, this keyword, and the IFFE function also. So I think I will stop here now, right? What you can do is later you can watch the video if you want to do the revision quickly. Read through this code here, right? Also there is a video attachment, you can watch that video. If you look at the somewhere in our code here, there is video 1 and 2, okay? You can watch that video for prototype to understand and read through this code, simple examples, try in your in your Visual Studio, okay? And the project we will do tomorrow, right? We'll just do maybe 1 or 2 projects, one project tomorrow. So we have library. This library is same like our to-do app, okay? But this time we're going to use constructor function to do that. And the basic JavaScript tic-tac-toe and the factory function tic-tac-toe. So tic-tac-toe game using factory function, okay? And with basic JavaScript we're going to do this. So tomorrow we'll just do this tic-tac-toe function with basic JavaScript, okay? All right guys, I will stop here now. Thank you very much. Any question you can ask me right now. So okay,